right, we're hot. We're recording. Yeah, I saw Sloan from YETI post something about like, everyone talks about the hunter decline numbers. They're going down every year, and his question was like, is the Western hunting just becoming that much more popular, and like the Eastern stuff is like kind of declining, or because you listen to anybody you talk to in the industry that like stays up on this stuff says hunter recruitment's going way down, has gone way down, but at the same time, it seems like opportunities are going way down because there's more people trying to play.
I think Warb and the hunting public guys have talked about that a lot. It seems to be more prevalent in those like whitetail kind of Eastern states, but I agree that I think the Western hunting population is probably growing. And we're just covering, for those tuning in, Montana just released their draw results and they saw a 30% increase in non-resident applications from last year. Almost close, like 16,500 total non-residents applied for deer and elk tags in the general draw for Montana. Pretty big uptick. We've talked about it as a group, but Canada is still closed. And so a lot of folks, obviously that we're going to do different hunts there, kind of doubling down on their money and their applications and great states to potentially chase elk in. I know New Mexico, from the friends we've talked to, are seeing a pretty big increase as well. And just people buying landowner tags, whatever else, that booking hunts and things like that. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, it seems like everything recreation, outdoor recreation is booming right now. Everything from ATVs to UTVs to campers, tents, sleeping bags, hiking, hunting, which is like bow hunting is like, Hoyt, the rumor I'm getting from Hoyt is they can't build the bows fast enough. And just like a year and a half ago, people were like nervous about the hunting industry,
For sure. They got a lot of companies in the industry laid off a fair amount of people last, call it like March and April, and now, like to your point, Eric, I would say most all of the companies we work with, pretty close, they're all experiencing like supply and demand challenges, raw goods, just getting inventory. Sales have been really strong across the hunting space. Obviously, if you've been trying to get any kind of ammunition or weaponry, absolutely impossible to find anything these days.
It's like to a point where it's getting like, I've never been the guy that's like wanted to hoard ammunition. I've always like, I've got a couple boxes, it's enough for this season, probably next. But talking to Luke from Weatherby the last couple of days, even him himself is trying to like put some stuff away just for his personal use because it is so hard to find ammunition right now. And that guns and ammunition might be a little bit different. It just maybe off of a political standpoint, anytime it seems like a Democrat gets voted into office, people get a little nervous, which I think that's part of the issue. But yeah, like you're saying, Weatherby they can't keep up, man. They can't build guns fast enough. They can't build ammunition fast enough. They can't get stuff to build ammunition fast enough. So
we're dealing with challenges too, guys. Like if any of you have jumped onto our website to try to buy any kind of hat, hoodie, shirt, you name it, there's just been a big supply chain holdup, if you will, on the blanks that we use. So it's been a challenge. Really, we started to see it right around Black Friday, November, and it's still kind of happening. Where just everyday blanks, it would be usually super easy to get, are really not available. And then India, who and some other countries that have like a heavy amount of manufacturing, a lot of them are experiencing like a resurgence in COVID spikes. So who knows what that'll do to the supply chain for the foreseeable future. They might be shut down for a couple weeks, a week, who knows? But that 1 week delay is a huge one, just like that big giant ship that got stuck in the Suez Canal, just completely wrecked all like the shipping logistics for the thing was stuck for a while in there. Yeah, it's crazy how those little blips really make a huge difference.
And like going back to like what you were saying, Eric, about everyone, all recreation is up. I noticed that just from a standpoint of myself being out last year, not even hunting, but my parents built a cabin a couple hours north of here, and we've spent our whole lives up there in the summer up in Island Park, fishing, camping, recreating, whatever. I've never seen the traffic that I've saw this last summer up there. And that was, going back to what you always say, Brian, is there's more people that are working from home that aren't having to show up to a 9 to 5, not having to, clock in, but they have that ability to work from home, which if they have the internet, they can work anywhere. And I've noticed that myself. I've talked to a lot of people that have brought that up. Like, I've never seen so many people in my hunting spot as I did last year. And I think that was a big reason is people were able to get out more.
I have a feeling this year's going to be worse.
I don't think it's going to change. I think that's what people noticed was why go into an office if I could work from anywhere? And I even think companies are seeing that as well. Like, why do we even need a place for people that don't even need to show up? And so I don't think that's going to like go back to that 9 to 5 quick enough.
Well, I think people had that cooped up feeling.
Yeah.
Probably just itching to get out after that first kind of shutdown where everyone was kind of trying to stay home and things were definitely slow, like no traffic on the roads at 5 o'clock. Camping was dead. And then it's like people just are ready to go out and get out of the house. But yeah, it's pretty wild, man. I was traveled home on a Sunday, dude. I-15 all the way from southern Utah to home was like nonstop. RVs, UTVs. I mean, Moab was popping because, you got the 4-wheel drive stuff and the Easter weekend. And it's just busy, man. It's pretty wild to see how many people are really getting out there.
That's funny you say that. When we used to live in California and LA, we made the mistake a few times of like when we came back home for whatever reason. And if we would try to go drive back to LA on Sunday, they call it going home Sunday. From Vegas to LA is just one nonstop traffic jam all the way to LA, which is like 4 hours away.
Yeah. In the desert, just so hot. Cars,
especially in the summer.
Yeah.
That's how Utah's going to be, bro. Going home Sunday.
Well, folks, welcome back to another episode of the Hushlife podcast. We got the OG crew on here today. Logie Bear and Matt are working on some project-based stuff. So they are getting after that, but we just figured we'd catch up.
Let's prove it that Logan's actually doing some work.
Look at that.
Is he really working that hard?
Or is he working?
I bet he's working.
Dude,
hey, yeah, just cutting videos.
Eric's footage he was supposed to send me, never got it.
Oh, calling Eric out.
What'd he say?
He said he's looking for your footage you were supposed to send him and you never sent it to him.
Dallas or Jordan did you ever get?
No, I never got a reply.
He said you're out of luck, buddy.
Ridiculous. Anyways, we figured we'd get back together, do a little update, like how's life been? We've definitely been on the divide and conquer path like we have many times throughout our journey as a company, as a little brand trying to grow. Eric kind of holds down the shed hunting side of the world. I think Casey, myself, a little lean into more, maybe some variety of fishing and some turkeys and maybe some bears. But I think old Matty Ice is he's bound and determined to get you on a turkey hunt, Eric.
Yeah, I don't know what he's got going on with that. He's like, we got to go turkey hunting. We got to do an ice fishing series this winter. He's cool
gonna change your mind, dude. I honestly think
I'm 38, bro. 38, stuck in my ways. I'm not turkey hunting. There's no, like, I don't want to shoot a turkey. What am I to do with that?
You eat it, Eric. I know you like to eat.
It's like amazing $99 a pound at the store.
It's different.
I know.
The calling part of it, you've never been in a setup where like they're cranking. I think you'd enjoy that. I really do. And you can make it as hard as you want or as easy as you want, right? Like you lean into more things that are, I'd say, more challenging. Like you're not looking to just shoot one off a road. They have that. These mountain birds, you can do that.
And I might find a shed.
And you might find a shed.
Backpack turkey hunt.
No, we got some spots that we could backpack turkey hunt.
For sure.
Like overnighters, man. It'd be fun.
You're right.
Yeah. So I was talking to Matt last night and he's like, it's happening, dude. Eric's going with me on a turkey hunt and we're going to change his mind. Maybe you may not eventually say like, this is the greatest thing ever, but I bet you'll be like, that was pretty fun. That tastes good.
Yeah. If I got in on the action that you see on YouTube, all these YouTubers making it look so easy and fun where they gobble and you sit down and they come right and strutting. I've never seen that before. And I've seen a bazillion turkeys. I mean, I cannot believe how well they're doing out here in the West. And I do the other day, in fact, and you guys will probably see this on the shed tour hunting video. dude, it's 5:30 and this thing is nonstop gobbling I was just camped out in this little draw and he was just hitting so hard. He woke me up. I was like, dude, shut up. Like trying to sleep. But yeah, they're everywhere and they're pretty cool. And I would definitely love to eat them. No doubt about that. But if I were to be on a good sit and a good stand and have the action like that, I'm sure I would really enjoy it.
Here's my take on turkeys. I was kind of the same way. Like when you see a turkey, like if you're driving down the road and you see a turkey run across the road, you're like, just a big bird, right? But when you actually like start hunting them and chasing them and realizing how smart they are, and then you do finally have that call-in scenario, it's like life-changing, Eric. But it's the same
cool,
thing.
Man.
Like we grew up, I grew up watching outdoor TV, and anytime like a whitetail or a turkey hunt would come on, I'd kind of like disengage myself and go do something else until, I was hoping for a mule deer hunt or an elk hunt. But on both those topics, I've been changed. I absolutely love turkey hunting. They call it the bulls of spring. I think Born and Raised is token that name, but it's true, man. And it's always this argument that like, is turkey hunting just like elk hunting? I'm like, you're not calling in a 900-pound animal with giant antlers on its head, but the tactics are the same.
I like the interaction of the calling component, in the strategy of trying to set up and stuff. I was calling them with Logan, I was calling them turkey bugles. Turkey bugles. But it's cool, man. It's a beautiful time to be out in the woods, and I love eating them. I think they're fantastic table fare. And then I like the concept too, like there's different, subspecies of them that you can go try to tackle, right? There's like the Eastern strain and the Rios and the Merriams and, the ones down in Florida.
Osawalas, is that what they're called?
Because I don't know the correct pronunciation, but
they're cool,
the Goulds down in the old southern part of Arizona and Mexico and all that. I think that part's kind of cool, but I got a lot to learn. We're terrible turkey hunters, I would say. I mean, moderately average, terrible. Compared to the guys like, Dave Owens of Pinhoti Project, man, that guy is a legend. As a turkey hunter. Dude is just like so dialed on turkey hunting and so passionate about it.
It's if you follow that guy, it's frustrating to me because I've had one goal in the last, I think 3-4 years. And my goal has been to call a turkey in Idaho on public land into myself and shoot it. It hasn't happened. But this guy has killed a turkey in every state, right? In the United States, I think twice now. So I'm always like, well, these birds in Idaho, they just don't come to calls like in other states. Well, this guy proves me wrong every time. He's literally called in a turkey in every state and shot it.
He's so good. So guys, the main reason, I mean, we'll get into the spring stuff for sure, but one of the bigger reasons we wanted to jump on is we have a ginormous announcement coming down the pipe. So Monday, the 19th of April, for those of you tuning in, maybe watching on the YouTubes, you're going to want to circle back to whether it's our Instagram page, or maybe it's going to be you're part of the SMS group or the podcast or the YouTubes. Big giant announcement coming. Can't get into the details, but
got a big project. Big
project. Yeah. We're very excited about that. We're excited to share it with everybody. Something that we have thought about and hoped to do for a long time. And I think we finally made it, dare I say, happen?
I feel like we made it happen. There's been a lot of work and effort that's gone into this. So yeah, it's gonna be cool, guys. I think you guys are gonna really enjoy it.
Absolutely. So again, the 19th of April, huge giant announcement coming from the various Hush platforms. You can find it on our website, any of our social channels, and we'll have a video dropping on YouTube and Facebook the 19th at some point. I would assume maybe even earlier than 5 p.m. Because we're that excited about it. So wanted to get that housekeeping out of the way. Announcement, check.
Check it off the list.
Check it off the list. Eric, you want to give us a little update on the shed tour? What can people expect in the coming weeks?
All right, guys. So shed tour is about to be popping on the channel. I was gone for like 10 or 11 days. And what it started with was going on a shed hunt for my birthday. My birthday's April Fool's Day, April 1st. The only bad thing about going shed hunting on your birthday is I miss out on all the cool pranks, all the cool social media projects that the companies put out. Like literally, I didn't see a dang thing of
There's some good. There's some good ones this year.
Did any of them get you?
No, because I knew what day it was. I mean, being a parent, April Fool's is a pretty big day. Lots of pranks to play on the kids. But yeah, I mean, the one I'm going to call a company out because they've always done, I think, the very best job on April Fool's Day pranks is Vortex. And they didn't do one this year.
They didn't. Remember the bullet cam
The
a
bullet.
couple years ago?
Bullet cam was good. Hoyt had a good one this year. Hoyt had this really like this bow that was obviously not true. It had like hand warmers and like USB plugs that you can like charge your phone and stuff on.
Solar panels or something on it.
Yeah, even being my birthday, I had early, like first thing in the morning. My buddy Trent, he goes by the name on Instagram, Rogue Outdoorsman. And his caption is what got me because he's like, he had a logo and it was A4 Outfitters. The guy's from Arizona. If you guys are familiar with, there's a big guiding company called A3. And his guiding service, it had the logo, A4 Outfitters, and then underneath it said time to level up. It just seemed like a total diss, like, oh shoot, like that's ballsy. And in his comment caption, he's like, guys, I've been working on this so hard, man. We've been putting a team together to launch our outfitting business. I couldn't wait any longer. I just had to share it. And I was like, dang, dude's going after these guys. Like maybe there's beef. And then I was like, oh yeah, April Fool's Day. And then multiple people brought it up to me. Like, did you see Trent was starting an outfitting business, A4? I put on there, I'm like, I'm going to start A5. Yeah, April Fool's is a fun day to have a birthday, but unfortunately I was out of service. So I didn't get to get in on all the jokes and the funny humor stuff, but plenty of people, especially our viewers, wish me happy birthday. So thank you to everyone who sent the birthday wishes. But I spent my birthday doing what I love, man. Every year since I was a kid, I tried to spend my birthday going shed hunting. And this trip started out with a like solo overnight trips. And I was out there like 4 nights, just out there finding sheds. And my birthday this year was the best day of shed hunting I've had this season. So started out slow, you start to question yourself, like, what am I doing down here? Like, I've never been in this zone. I don't know what to expect. And then right when I basically am like, I know there's brown antlers here. There's tracks, there's dropping, there's beds. I pick up my backpack to walk out where I just had like zigzagged all over, and boom, big old brown just laying right there. And it's like, oh my gosh, like it's just one of those moments where you're like, dude, anything can happen shed hunting. You can go from the dumps to like motivated and super happy in just a moment. So it started out with finding that brown, which led to, really dropping the pack, trying to find more, trying to find its match, which then leads you over in this canyon, picked up a white, leads you down in the bottom of that one, pick up a brown. Long story short, man, Shed Tour is coming back to the platform. Took a little break because I was basically out in the field. So on the trip, I got a whole bunch of solo videos coming, and then Matt, he hooked up with me about halfway through the trip, and we hit some new country. We had some okay days and some bad days, but overall, like super entertaining videos. And
Can we talk about a couple things that have impacted your age, maybe?
What's that?
Casey knows where I'm going with this one. I can see it on his face.
I didn't know we were going to talk about this.
Dude, what happened to the camera, Eric?
Well, Shed Tour started out really good. Our first trip was popping. Dude, the whole, like I had like 7-8 days of footage all on my vlog camera. So typically when we go shed hunting, you got Matt, he's got a camera, I've got my camera, and you get to see our different points of views. And on the last night we stayed in a hotel, I remember looking at the videos, like enjoying watching all my pickups and like, dude, this is sweet footage. Never dropped the SD card. And the next day it was kind of like where's my camera? I still to this day don't know where it is, but I swear I left it in the hotel. But the hotel claims that they never saw it again. So I have no clue.
The maid snatched it up.
The classic, I lost something. It's probably my wife's fault. but with this time was with the hotel cleaning staff.
Yeah, and
Because
before
let's
that,
hold on, let's back up because this isn't the first time you've been losing stuff here in the last 12 months, Eric.
no, I'm losing my mind.
Dude.
Before the camera got lost, we had a rodeo. Like
Oh my
the shed tour videos don't show it. Like we weren't filming. We kind of closed up the videos and everything was good. But halfway through that trip, I'm driving out of town, just like happy to go to the next spot, meet up with our buddies. And it just hits me like a picture came in my mind of me setting down the Can-Am key on the asphalt, telling myself, don't set that there. You should probably put it in your pocket or in the truck. And like, no, I got this. I'll remember. Put it on the asphalt, closed up the Can-Am, took the jumping jack trailer, put all the pins in, got in the truck and bounced. So I'm 30 minutes out of town, which is an hour from that. And it just flashes in front of my face and I pull over like, I'm like, the key is not with us. I knew it 100%, but I got a twist to this story. The key is not with us and it is now snowing up there. So I'm like, dude, we got to beat the snow plows. So we're going up and we're right behind a snow plow the whole drive. I'm like, if a snow plow plows the highway, they're going to take my key with it, you know? So we get a metal detector and these super cool.
How did you get a metal detector?
Everyone thought I just had one, but I met some kids in town the night before and they were super nice. They came over and showed us some of their antlers and some of the elk they killed. Their Instagram, just to give them a shout out, is shed_reaper. Super nice guys. And I just happened to, on my way to town, I was like, hey, got an issue. Do you guys have a metal detector? Yeah, dude, got one. Like, I'll have my mom throw it in the Jeep for you. And I'm like, holy crap, they actually have one.
Like,
So
what are the odds of that?
Slim. I go get a battery at the gas station, plug it in, and sure enough, I've always wanted a metal detector because I think it's like treasure hunting. I would love to get into it. But anyways, we go up there and I'm like, man, I can't tell if a snowplow had hit this yet or not. So me and Matt just metal detected the whole area, couldn't find it. And I was like, it's in the snowbank. I know it, dude. Like a snowplow must have hit this before, and this is the new stuff after. So we leave and abandon the idea that we're ever going to find the key. But we find a locksmith in town. His name is Nolan, I think. Genius. This guy is like the greatest locksmith of all time and builds me a Can-Am key. He literally like opens up the key slot, the Can-Am, puts his little mini flashlight in there and just guesses what he sees, like the codes, builds one, and it starts. 10 minutes. And I'm like, I just wasted 3 hours of drive time, a half hour of metal detecting, and I could have just rolled up to this guy and had a key in 10 minutes. So funny story. I had him, I'm like, dude, if we're here, build me an extra Toyota, my truck key. So I built 2 more truck keys, 3 4-wheeler keys, and 3 sets of keys for my camper shell. Dude, the guy was like the best locksmith of all time. So yeah, I'm losing keys, I'm losing cameras, I'm getting old.
You lost the rental car key last year on a hunt. Like things are not going well for you, Eric, when it comes to keeping track of stuff. And normally I would say you're fairly buttoned up, but things are really slipping.
An animal took the rental truck keys.
Through the Mondays, dude.
I have Martin as my witness. He's like, I would call BS on you, but I saw you climb under there and put the keys on the frame, and then they're gone.
Cuda Mondays.
Cuda Mondays got them. So anyways, we got all the keys. Oh, so fast forward to this last trip. I met a guy in the area and he laughed. He kind of saw the stories and kind of laughed about it. I'm like, dude, I know that key is up there somewhere. He stopped on the side of the highway where I pulled off and found the key.
No way.
I have the OG.
No way. What are the chances, dude?
I got 4 keys now.
Was this snow melted?
Yeah, he said it was on the north end of like this little area. I was telling him, and he's like, "Yeah, I was on the north end." I'm like, "That's where the snowbank was."
Hilarious.
Anyways,
so now all we need is for somebody to turn up your SD card with all our footage on it.
If someone ever sees a Canon G7X Mark III, brand spanking new, first trip it was ever on, with my footage on the SD card, you can have the camera. Just send me the card.
In all the years, guys, I'd say we've done a pretty good job of avoiding catastrophic failures when it comes to content. There has been a couple, and they
Yeah.
seem to be materializing more recently than later. Logan had a bit of an issue in Alaska. The Sony A7 R3 does not swim well in salt water. We had a
They sink
external hard drive crash on us in Colorado that was never able to recover. Thankfully, he had backed up all of the stuff. I mean, we had like best season yet that hadn't been backed up, and he just did it before we went to Colorado. And then his entire hard drive crashes. So we lost like a day and a half or so in Colorado that we've never recovered. And now the mysterious disappearance of the Canon G7X in the hotel.
Yeah. The sucky part is like we still did shed tour videos and Matt had his perspective. It was funny because Matt coming on as like the new guy. He's like, bro, I'm editing these and it's just like Matt going shed hunting. Like
welcome to the fire, bud.
Yeah, thrown in.
You. So I just the videos were good and they would have been that much better with all my pickups, all those moments that I captured. And unfortunately that video is gone.
So the lesson that we've learned more so in the last 12 months than ever before is we really have to do a spot on job of dropping footage, meaning taking the SD card, putting it on an external hard drive every time, organize it, drop it, done. And then from there, we actually have to back up the backup because man, anymore things just seem to go sideways. And it's one of those deals, man, you lose that footage. It's just devastating. All the energy and the time and the effort, it really helps tell like the story and make just a better, video down the drain. Sucks.
Yeah, it is. It's a little nerve wracking sometimes. I mean, like when Logan's hard drive crashed in Colorado, he literally had like pretty much all of everything me and him had filmed that year that hadn't been cut yet, like Braley's moose hunt,
Gage's hunt, maybe
Gage's elk hunt, like all these really important hunts. Not just
all,
to me,
all of
but
Kodiak.
all of Kodiak. Yeah, so that's the whole thing is you got to drop it and then back it up.
Yep. So we're learning through
It
lessons, through some hard lessons.
It happens. I
So
think you kind of jinxed yourself though, because I remember having a conversation not too long ago, and Eric made the point and goes, "I don't get it. Like I've never lost any footage."
And that's the thing is I give these guys a hard time with because I use the simplest little camera on automatic settings. I record, I disrecord, audio works, I drop my footage, I edit my videos, and I'll always be like, dude, the more techie we get with these fancy cameras and these microphones, we're having glitches, the audio's like connection is bad, we're dropping cameras. Like, I'm like, dude, what is this? It's not that hard. Boom, lose my camera. Like, dang it.
Yeah.
Tough one. It's a
happened.
tough one. So where are you in your quest for 100? And do you still think it's doable?
Yeah. So if anyone didn't catch that, which again, I explained it a lot on those first few videos on my camera. I set myself a goal to find 100 shed antlers this year through the Shed Tour series. And I thought it'd be fun to kind of count them as we go day to day. And sometimes I forget and sometimes I do a good job, but I am just shy of 50. And I decided to not count like things I left. So I'm always balancing like, okay, I found 3 chalks. I'm going to leave them, but I also found this big deadhead. So I'm going to like count those 2. And I always am trying to balance, but I'm always giving not myself the benefit of the doubt. Like I'm counting less because I'd probably be over 60 if it was for the chalks, the things I don't care to pack out. So yeah, just shy of 50. It's definitely doable, but I'll just say this. I'll give myself the full year, count like the full calendar year, because I'll do some fall shed hunting and stuff, and I'll continue Shed Tour. But yeah, I'm on a quest to find 100 shed antlers.
So give us some perspective, because I think, this happens a lot. We share a little bit of stuff on social media and a little bit of stuff on video, but it by no means is the whole picture, right? There's missing context, there's missing components of it, and it's just an abbreviated experience that we've had. So when folks look at Instagram, I think more than anything else, there's a lot of like great stuff shared, kind of cherry picking some of the highs of the highs. And I feel like a lot of people would be like, man, Eric and Matt, those guys are absolutely killing it right now. And we get quite a few messages of people that are maybe newer into shed hunting or just not as experienced or haven't had the time. And there's a struggle factor there that is creating frustration. Give the people a peek behind the curtains on like, what is it really like? What is the effort and the time spent compared to like the outcome of actually finding what you're looking for? Because I think that part gets left out of a lot of like social stuff, right? Everyone thinking like, oh, everybody's killing it, dude. This is amazing. And here I am over here. I can't find anything and I'm getting deflated. So give us a little peek behind the effort, man, because I think that's a missing component.
Yeah. And what you'll see on these next round of videos is you will see the days that we don't crush, because when you see the highlights, like Brian said, you always feel like these people are crushing. And I do that when I watch some of these other guys, but I know how many miles they're putting on. So to give you kind of a perspective, this season started out really good. Matt and I went on a trip and we seemed to just kind of hit the pocket. You know, we found some browns, like a good handful of browns, but then we got snowed out. So for 1.5 days, we crushed. And then for the next 4 days, we were like dry, trying new areas. You know, there was a lot of snow, so we were exploring new country, trying to go lower elevation, and it just wasn't producing. So there was like 2 days of like heavenly shed hunting, 4 days of legit all day hikes, and nothing, like maybe a few chalks that you don't even want to pack out.
Yeah.
So even Matt himself said, he's like, man, I remember watching you and Martin, and I thought it was just easy. And so he's like, this puts it in a perspective, because I thought you guys were just crushing all the time. Cause you see the pack outs. I'm like, yeah, you don't realize that those are 3 days worth of shed hunting. One pack out picture looks like, holy crap. So if you like put together the next trip, the first day I found 7 elk sheds, which in my opinion is a killer day. And that day was quality. Like everything I found was pretty good. I hiked the same country the next day. Like I'm in the zone looking for my matches, and I find 0 elk sheds, 1 deadhead coos deer, and 1 coos shed. So that just shows you how you can like hit, I call it now the hot line or the red line. Like it's literally all depends. You could like walk right through them, or you can hit the right lines and clean house. So on my birthday trip, 7 sheds one day, 7 elk sheds, which is my favorite, 0 the next, same country. So yeah. And then after that trip, when Matt came down, same thing, we hit a pocket where we're like, dude, we're going to clean house. Cause he popped off, and I remember it, like he popped off in like 2.5 hours, found a brown. And I'm like, well, he's in the zone. And then 3.5 hours into it, 4 miles for me, I pop off and I'm like, I'm going to hit the zone. Dry the rest of the day. So for an all day hike, a beast hike, 1 antler each. And then we moved terrain and hit some new country where we had hit the last week. Kind of the same story as my birthday. I go in this country, first time I'd ever been there, and I was with my buddy John. I find 7 antlers, everything ranging from brown, hard white, the year before that, and then even older than that. So I'm like, this is heaven. And it took me so long to hike in to find 7, and then so many hours to hike out. I was like, if I could spend some time in there, I could probably clean house. Go back to the same zone, 4 of us, all good shed hunters that know what we're doing. Nobody found anything. So it's like, how did I hit that hotline? How did I hit the red line that one day? And now we got 4 guys who know what they're doing with optics, with everything, and we can't find any. So, I mean, for anybody who's a beginner, they're always looking for tips and advice, which we have a really good podcast that we did last year. You can find on our channel about that. But man, it's the same as hunting, where you can have your worst day can go to your best day walking around the right bush. Like,
yeah.
Just
and
like that.
From a mileage standpoint too, I mean, you guys are in that kind of 10 to 15 miles a day range, I'd say, from what I was hearing from Matt.
Yep. Yeah. Some country, like that country we were hitting, it probably ranged like, 10 to 12 average. And then you got other zones that we hit that are more flat, like desert sagebrush flats, and you can put on 15 to 17.
I love like the new language that's coming from all of this. Did you
Red
notice that,
line,
Casey?
red
All these,
line, hot
all these,
line.
all these new words, and it's like its own little code language.
You're
I love
making a
it.
t-shirt, dude.
I know. Yeah, I think it's hilarious.
Tell me this, Eric. You know, we do get a lot of questions that pop up in our DMs and stuff, you know, with new shed hunters, and they're wanting to know tips and tactics. How much, maybe this is one that will be useful to somebody, but how much time, like what percentage of time do you spend sitting down behind the vortex glassing compared to just out walking randomly?
It varies depending on the terrain. So when I'm in terrain that's steep and, you know, these big canyons with rocks, and dude, I'll sit for an hour in glass. Well, not in one time. What I'll do, I'll like to sit, pick it apart, hike up the hill, shed hunt this side, find the next best vantage, and literally glass that same stuff. Because if for anybody who hasn't spent a lot of time glassing, especially for elk sheds, one way just to prove to yourself how angles matter is if you glass a shed, as you start to move, watch how quickly you can no longer glass the shed. So if you got to think, okay, I see that 6 point or the back end of that nice bull, but I moved 50 yards up the hill and I no longer see it, that means there's ones you couldn't see from here that when you move 50, 100 yards, you can see it now. So I always glass the same stuff over and over. And it even surprises me, like, dang, dude, how did I miss that? Or could I even see it? But I would say you still are putting more time in hiking. It's hard to put a ratio because it really depends if that country is glassable or not. But when it's glassable, it's my tool. Because if anything, like this last trip on the shed tour, I got on a ridge and I hadn't found anything like halfway through the day. So I sit down, start picking it apart, and glass a side-by-side set. I was like, sweet, man, this country is glassable. If they're there, I think I could definitely see them as long as I stick to it. So I glass all over. And again, I walk up the hill 100 yards, glass that same slope, and I pick up a single that I couldn't see. So I'm like, sweet, same elevation. I got a set and a single. Well, I go over there and I start with the single first. It's chalk. And for anybody who's wondering what that means, it's just an antler that's been out there for multiple years, and the sun and the weather has just kind of like rotted it away to where the antler will chalk, like open up and kind of be flaky. And it's just the lowest quality antler. But in between that one and the set, I popped off a brown. I literally, once I found that brown, I was like, whoa, there's bulls up here this year too. I sat down and glassed a brown across the canyon, like more like a bowl, not really like a canyon. And on my way to that one, because I wanted to see if it was the match to this one or not, because they were both right and lefts and they were brown, same size range. Halfway over to that one, I look back and with my eyeballs see another antler on the hill I just came from. So I found 3 singles, nice singles, 2 browns and 1 hard white in that little bowl, and then got to the shed set and it was chalk. So even though I didn't like, those weren't the high quality stuff, it led me to the quality stuff. So glassing is just super valuable.
All right, Eric. So you got one choice. You can only do one thing moving forward in your life. You can hunt big game the rest of your life, but you can't shed hunt. Or you could shed hunt the rest of the life, but you can't big game hunt. What are you picking?
Shed hunt all the way. It's been like that since I started. Like, I shed hunted long before I ever hunted.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that goes back to being young and just like honestly loving the animals and appreciating the animals so much. I didn't want to kill them. And I enjoyed going with people who did. And I actually filmed a lot of hunts before I ever decided to pull the trigger on one. But the reason for that is it's unlimited, right? When you shed hunt, you can, as many as you can go get, like they're all yours. So there is seasons in some state, but I'm going to just stick to like Utah. Like there's really no season for it. It's unlimited. I love antlers, and I have a collection of like bulls and bucks that most people will never reach in a hunting mode. And it's not that I just want the antlers, but like I have these hard to get tags and these hard to get units, it takes forever to draw them, but you can shed hunt them. So I have a collection that would take a guy a lifetime to try to shoot.
That's funny. I used to know some guys that were the same way, and I was always blown away by it. Like, and these guys were like serious hunters. Like, they got after, they killed some big animals, but they were really into shed hunting. And I used to always quiz them, and be like, you have to choose one, what's going to be? And they're like, shed hunting. Like, I can go find that big bull sheds, 5 years in a row. As if I killed him, he's dead. So I used to always like make fun of him, just like, all right, well, that's how it's going to be. Like, you have to choose, if you're going to shed hunt, you can't buy tags anymore.
Yeah. The lucky thing for me is I got you guys. I could just go with you guys if it came down to it, and I could get some meat from you.
That's right.
No meat.
That's what's cool though, man. I appreciate like your passion and, your dedication to shed hunting in particular. I think a lot of guys don't understand it. It's an interesting divide. I feel like there's a big group of people that are really similar to your stance on shed hunting. It's so passionate and competitive and, just getting after it. And then like a whole nother set of people that just could care less about it and don't get it whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But I appreciate, the effort and the energy that so many of you guys put into doing it. I think it'd be fun to do. I haven't done much of it personally, but I think it'd be fun to do. But I like to do so many other things. It's like, it'd be hard to just dedicate all my time to just that in the spring. I really enjoy the turkey side of things. I really enjoy the fly fishing component of life. But that's the beauty of like the three of us and our personalities. We've worked well together because we all like a little bit of different stuff. We all kind of complement each other. It's all worked out for the better.
Yeah, I'm kind of that way too. Like, I more or less could care less about finding a shed. Except I've always said this, I've found sheds in my life, but it's never when I'm gone to go shed hunting. It's like, if we're in New Mexico, I've found a couple elk sheds down there. Colorado, I found a set one year. I found this giant deer set when I was a kid, when we were out bird hunting. But like, when I make a point to go shed hunting, I would just walk around aimlessly and be like, this is the dumbest thing ever. So my son Gage really wanted to get into shed hunting, still does. And so last year we made a point to take him out to Nevada when Nevada opened, and did like a 2-day shed hunt. And me and Logan and Gage had all split up, and we got back together, and we're like, we each had like found a shed, and it was like this thing that like, we actually did it. We actually came out here shed hunting, and we did what we were supposed to do. And that was pretty exciting, I thought. And I get the point of like, part of the reason I love turkey hunting so much is it's such a cool time to be out in the woods. After the snow's melting, everything's starting to turn green. There's nothing really else going on. Like, I get that point. Like, I get the idea of being out there hiking, getting in good shape, and finding sheds. Like, I told Eric last night, I'm going to do the next big shed tour I'm going to go on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be fun for the three of us to do it. We've never done it before. Not once.
Yeah. We need to get like a purposely, like Casey said, the purpose is we are going shed hunting. We're going to hit this strategically and try to find elk sheds. I think people would enjoy it too. But dude, when it comes to shed hunting, like, I have seen so much cool stuff too, like, yes, you want to find sheds. Yes, sometimes it sucks when it's slow, but dude, I've seen more cool stuff out during that time of year. Scenery, places, wildlife. I mean, you name it. Shed hunting has just led me some of the most like epic country I've ever seen,
Plus, I would say, Eric, it's definitely helped you with hunting, I think. And also, I want to say, if you guys don't know Eric very well, we call him the idiot savant when it comes to antlers. Eric can look at a set of, is it antlers or horns?
It's antlers.
Eric can look at a set of antlers and just like memorize them like within seconds. Like, if I see a big bull, when we look at him at the spotting scope, I, look at him and I'm like, that's a big bull. Well, we might get back to camp and we're talking about it, and we might have a trail cam picture of what I thought was that big bull. And Eric will immediately like, nope, his G5 on his right side is not long enough, or whatever it might be. Like, Eric, you have like a photographic memory when it comes to antlers, man. It's incredible.
It is fascinating going through that shed pile. If you guys have ever seen his shed pile in the shop, he can literally pick up anything in that pile and tell you exactly where he found it. Like probably the year, like it's like a barcode scanner in his head with antlers. He's just like, yeah, oh, that one came from this hunt. And that's whether the antler is on the animal live or laying in the dirt, it doesn't matter. But there's always those times where, to Casey's point, you see a deer that somebody got, you're like, man, was that one that we got camera of? We just always send it to Eric. What do you think? Nope, it's not the one. Or dude, that's the one. It's fascinating to me.
A couple of years ago, we had a big bull on a trail camera, and we were like, oh man, that's a giant. Like he's gonna be even bigger next year. And then remember, I sent you that picture of that big bull that my buddy had killed. And you're like, oh, that's the bull we have on trail cam. I'm like it's not even that great of a picture. You're like, oh no, look at this G2, it's split right there. I'm just like, what? It's incredible, man, what you can do.
I wish I had that skill for like other things, like maybe a schedule or plan or like
where I put my keys.
Yeah, where I put my keys at.
Totally.
No, antlers are, like you said, like I don't know, man. It's almost like a photographic memory. And I know some people have this for like other things, you know, like maybe mechanics on before they took the engine apart, they can just remember. Like that's how I am with antlers, man. Like I can just see it. And there's been so many moments, even this year, like I've picked up multiple bulls that we picked up last year. And it was like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, there's this nice brown I found on my birthday. And I was like, dude, I just barely cut these up for dog chews at my house. Like,
no way.
Right away. And I was like, dang it, that kind of would have been cool to put 2 years of this bull side by side. But yeah, there's just certain things that are like, to me, no questions asked. Like, yeah, that's the same bull, or, oh, yep, that's him, or whatever. You know, I just recognize them and can remember them like is yesterday. Like Casey said, he found a couple sheds in New Mexico. I know exactly what he's talking about. They're two left sides. They're both white and they're both off the same bull, and they're both sitting in my pile in my shop.
Logan was just,
I could dig them out right now.
Logan was just going through some old footage. I don't know why. And he's like, hey, where does that big shed go that you found? And I go, I think Eric has it. But it was right. Like you got them both. Good. That's what I always do with you guys. I say, if you guys want to take them, I'm not going to pack them out.
I got a set from Colorado that you glassed up.
Oh yeah, I forgot. That's like the only set of elk sheds I've ever, and I glassed those up.
You did.
I was proud of myself.
That's cool. Yeah, there's antlers in my stack that are kept for different reasons. You know, people are always like, why do you keep all those? And it's like, well, everyone has a different story, but like your two is that was the Hushlife movie, you know, and that was that freaking epic trip, and they'll forever sit in that pile because it just reminds me of everything that trip. And then I've got a set that may not be, you know, keeper size, but it's like, yeah, me and my brother found those on a backpack trip, and those are special to me because I don't get out with my brother a lot. He doesn't find a lot of antlers, and he found that set. So I'll always have those. So there's certain things in the pile that, I mean, they just like a mount, like anybody that understands why we mount a deer, because it holds those memories. As soon as we see it, we get those flashbacks of all those great things. That's how sheds are. A shed could represent not just itself, but a time. It represents a story or a memory to me.
Yeah, that's cool. Like I said, I appreciate it. And I'm excited to see how the rest of the shed season shakes out. Should be solid. I mean, it's been off to a good start so far.
Yeah, I need some motivation from the viewers, man. If you guys like those videos, let me know. I went so hard for the first month and a half, and now I'm to the point where I'm like, dude, I'm tired. But I just need a few days to recoup and get back out there. And, you know, sometimes you feel like everyone's cleaning house, like they're all getting picked up. But when you go out there and realize there's still so many whites being found, there's just always antlers to be found. I've got to tell myself that every time too.
Yep.
So yeah, Shed Tour's coming back. It's going to be hot on the YouTube, and it's going to be going strong for like a week straight to get you guys caught up. I'm pumped.
Sweet.
Money. So another fun project that Casey and I got to be a part of, and Logie Bear for part of it, was some conservation work. And historically, Casey, you made a point in the video that I think was great, but we've done a pretty good job over the years of donating money to different organizations, whether it's conservation-based stuff or just like local charities, local people that need help. But I think where we've failed to a degree is spending time, actually boots on the ground, putting in our time to help out, I guess specifically with regards to like conservation habitat projects. Walk the people through what we got to do, and then like maybe what our plans are for the coming months and year, really.
Yeah. So, I mean, like Brian said, we've always, I think, done a fair job of donating money to different groups and organizations. You know, all the First Light hats that we sell on our website, $5 from every one of those hats, we've always put in a savings account or somewhere, and we use that money to donate for different conservation projects. And like Brian said, I think the thing that we've always failed on is we've donated money, which is always a huge thing. That's half of conservation, but the other half of conservation is actually having those boots on the ground and those volunteer hours, which it's tough, man. Like you can, donate $10,000 to whatever, but as long there needs to be people out doing the project. And so First Light's done a really phenomenal job the last few years with this program they call Brush for Bucks. And so basically it started out pretty small. And then I think that they're in year 3. So this year they purchased 1,200, just over 1,200 mountain sage saplings. So they've been growing for a year. So they're about 4 to 5 inches tall. And there's an area over there in Bellevue, Idaho that burned last year. And what a lot of people don't understand is you need mature sagebrush to throw seeds to grow more sagebrush. So if a fire comes through an area and burns hot enough, it's going to burn all the mature sage, and sage will not grow back unless you actually go in there and physically plant it yourself. So we got to go be a part of their Brush for Bucks last week. We did a video of it. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. And we got together with those guys. We planted 1,200 saplings, and we have a plan to do that next year, but even bigger. And I think I'm going to say this, there's a lot of grants and stuff out there. And we actually just applied for a grant through the Idaho Fish and Game, which we're waiting to hear back if we got it or not. But basically our plan is to do a big event next year. So this has to be planned out, which we're not great at planning. And I kind of like took over the conservation part of Hush this year. And I'm terrible at planning, but why you have to be planned out is you literally have to order the plants a year before. So they actually plant them in a nursery and they start growing them. So next year they're mature enough that you can actually go out, plant them, and they have a chance to survive. So next year, what we were wanting to do is we raised the bar and we want to actually plant 10,000 sagebrush saplings in an area in southern Idaho that has been burned. And what we want to do with it, and I guess I can talk about this, right?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So we want to make it a really cool event where actually we're going to sell tickets to come to the event. And what's going to happen, we haven't figured out price or anything, but basically we purchase a ticket, and that ticket is your ticket to come hang out, obviously, but that ticket is going to give you X amount of saplings that you can go plant. And I think it's be a really good family event. Like bring the kids out, bring your wife out. We're going to make it really cool. Like we go and plant, work hard, plant all these things, and then have a big cookout with Camp Chef or something like that. We're still trying to figure out the details, but that should be like next April sometime. But yeah, let's just, and then so if this grant goes through, we get the money from the state that will pay for this next year. And then the money we raise from this event will just go to the year following. So every year we're ordering our saplings when we need to. We're always a year out, but we're also, part of us getting out and doing this is we want to hopefully get other people excited about this as well. Maybe you don't have a ton of extra money to donate. Maybe, you do have some time though. And that's the whole thing, is half of it is volunteer work. We have to have people out there actually doing the work. And so if hopefully get some people excited to, get out and help out. And there's a ton of different places, no matter where you live, there's always something going on or someone that needs some help. We actually just donated a bunch of money, or not a bunch of money, but we donated some money to a friend of ours that had a real bad fire go through his ranch in Colorado. And it is private land, but this private land is it's a wintering ground for elk and deer. And so it's a necessity that we go and replant it for the elk and deer that live on the public land the rest of the year. But anyway, that's kind of what we're doing with conservation. I would highly recommend to go watch the video. I think it's a good video. Logan did a great job on it, but it kind of goes into a little more detail exactly what we did and why we did it.
Yeah, I think it's cool. Eric and I did a project last year where we met up with the Utah Department of Wildlife, and it was a collaborative effort with the BLM, the Forest Service, private landowners, but it was a big chaining project. So they essentially like wipe out a huge swath of junipers, which don't necessarily provide a whole lot of like value for wildlife in the wintering ground. And then they reseed it with a variety of different seed mixtures. and then they drag this huge chain over it. There's a combination of like seating by like the D9 dozer and also aerial seating. And that area will become a real great multi-use wintering ground for deer, elk, and even, you know, like cattle that graze in there and stuff. And those things are just, they're fun to get out there. And I think we did like an Instagram story and had asked a lot of folks to take the poll, like, hey, would you guys be interested in partnering on something like this? Because I think a lot of people would love to help out. It's just hard to sometimes figure out, like, what are the projects available to even go help on? And I think we've struggled with that over the years, is where can we go donate our time? So we found a cool niche. I love the component of putting sagebrush brack into the ground, because it is a critical feeding source, especially for mule deer out west. And I think it'll be a cool event, you know, to get a bunch of people, if we continue to plan ahead of time, get out there. Hopefully the COVID stuff is long gone by next spring. Everybody's freaking back to normal. We're out there having a great time, doing something good, raising some money for the year to follow. And then I'm sure we can come up with some kind of cool component of, you know, maybe a raffle, to your point, some brats or something from Camp Chef. We figure it out, but I think it'll be super fun.
Yeah. I agree, BMAC. I think a lot of people, the majority of the people, myself included, want to get involved, but just don't know how and don't know where to go or where to get information. And I think there's a lot more projects going on that people realize, whether it's through the state agencies or even, you know, Elk Foundation, Mule Deer Foundation, all these different things do a lot of cool stuff. But I just don't think they have the platform to kind of share it and show it. And I think that's where we can step in with what Casey started, is not only can we help with financial stuff, not only can we put some boots and time on the ground, we can use our platform to show the people where that money's going and also get them involved. Because I would think, and you guys should leave a comment if you're on a platform where you can comment, like on YouTube, if you'd be interested to get involved, to meet up, to have a good time and, you know, give back to wildlife, like, let us know. And I bet overwhelmingly people just need information.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
no doubt.
that's what we'll do.
I think, I mean, we got, after we upload that video, we got a lot of great response from people, you know, just saying they want to help out, they want to do their thing. What I would recommend is wherever you live, whatever state you live in, look up, you know, get on the Idaho, or not Idaho, but get in the fishing game in the state you live in. And usually they'll have like the biologists in the different areas, their names listed. Those are like the guys that kind of know what's going on. The biologists have a bunch of projects they're working on, and they are more than willing to accept your help. Like Brandon, who is the regional habitat biologist in the Magic Valley region here, is who we've been working with about buying the seeds for next year. But what he was saying is basically, yeah, if you reach out to a local biologist, they're going to know some projects are going on. They're going to know how you can help. It's just, you know, a matter of you know, looking them up and reaching out to them, and they should have a pretty good idea of what's going down.
I love these projects too that we're working on this year, and specifically because, like, for example, the Colorado reseeding project, our friend that owns the property, it is very critical wintering grounds for deer and elk. And Colorado last year, like so many other states out west, had some terrible fires. They hit right in October, a lot of them. And so, and then it went straight to winter. Like, so October, literally fires burning, boom, giant snowstorm, covered up. The animals, you know, were pawing around looking for feed, and there's nothing there. So it was kind of a wonky year in a lot of Colorado with regards to some of the later season tags. And now it's imperative that they get seed into the ground, you know, right now as the snow is kind of melting off, to get as much of a take as possible. And what we learned with this last project with First Lite is, of the 1,220 seeds we planted, they're only expecting a 30% take rate, which is super low. And that is like a good plant, you know, ratio of like, yep, that was a good one. So you think about like how much of that seed won't necessarily germinate and take hold. But I love the fact that we donated $7,500 to this Colorado seeding project. And that was from some of the funding we got from those First Lite hats. So thank you to any of you guys that purchased a First Lite hat. Absolutely critical to helping us fund some of these initiatives. And then OnX threw in some money too to help us out. First Lite threw in some money to help us out. So really cool, you know, project and opportunity there. But we know where 100% of that money's going. You know,
Yeah.
we've done situations in the past where you've donated to like RMEF or, you know, different organizations. You don't necessarily know what it funds, you know, it goes into some general pool, but I love saying, dude, we, with the help of our audience, did that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. And I think that's what excites me a lot about these future projects, and, you know, just extending our community out to the field. We have a chance to meet so many amazing people, a lot of the expos that we've done over the years. What a cool opportunity to maybe get out with some of those same folks and do good for these various projects. And to your point, Casey, these projects exist all over the place. Doesn't matter where you live. And it could be different stuff. It might be, if you're down in the desert, it might be putting in like guzzlers or, you know, fixing fence. There's a lot of initiatives happening now where people are putting in better fencing to help with migration corridors. So the bottom strand, for example, wouldn't be barbed, it'd be unbarbed. And sometimes the top strand wouldn't necessarily be barbed. That way you get less, you know, pronghorn, mule deer getting hung up in fences and what have you. So there's just endless things folks are doing to help with wildlife habitat, migration corridors, you name it. And I think it's going to be exciting to see what happens in the next few years of just taking like a little bit stronger stance and a little bit more of a commitment of our time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's endless projects going on. People, you know, they might have the money, but maybe they're lacking in volunteer hours. So reach out to, you know, your local biologist and see what's going on, see how you can help.
It's good stuff, man. That's one of the reasons we love working with First Lite. Like, they have had a conservation minded DNA within their culture from the minute that Kenton and Scott founded it years and years ago. And that's really not changed. They've doubled down on it, and they're doing some cool stuff, which is always fun to see. And Ford has been a really valuable resource just for us to kind of get made, you know, some connections made and some ideas in our head, how we can help, you know, complement some of the things that those guys are doing. Casey, what do we have planned for the rest of the spring? Obviously, Eric's going to be continuing on the quest for 100. You got anything fun in the old hopper?
I'm trying to put meat on the table for my family. You know, I'm not just trying to go collect bone. Yeah, we got some cool things coming up. I'm excited about it. This has been such an off year, it feels like, because typically every year, January, February, we're so heavy on getting ready for expos, you know, getting all the merchandise ordered and then spending time at the expos, meeting all of you guys, which we dearly missed this year. But that kind of made it seem weird, because typically we get through February and we're like, man, we just need a break. But this year no one really needed a break. And so I'm been really looking forward to turkey hunting starting off. So this weekend, me and Logan are actually headed to South Dakota with the Weatherby crew, going to go chase some thunder chickens around, which should be a super fun time. And then I've got a bear hunt in May that's coming up that I'll be doing with the Weatherby crew as well. My good buddy Benny O'Brien from the Meat Eater is going to be joining me on that hunt. So it should be a good time. And then just some local bird hunting around here. And yeah, turkey hunting, bear hunting. And then before you know it, the hatches are going to be coming off, Eric. Fly fishing.
Fly fishing, dude.
Salmon
Best time of
flies
the
are
year.
on.
Dude,
Best time of the year.
You'll see a snorkel and you'll be like, what's that? And just, I'm under there, dude. Spear fishing.
Yeah, Eric's looking for treasures on the river bottom.
Yeah, dude, this is a great time. I'm excited. I've got some turkey hunts coming up, got some fly fishing, maybe a little trip back to Alaska too for some groceries. Got to go stock up on some more groceries. After having the salmon and the halibut from the trip that we did in Homer, I was like, we're doing that again. That fish was delicious. I know Eric's jonesing for some of it.
Dang,
So I think I'm going to try to get back up there for a couple of days. Me and Logie Bear, a couple other folks, going to run up there and go do another adventure with Captain Corey. Captain Corey from Dakota Ocean Charters, going to take us out. Might even mix in potential for a spring bear hunt. We'll see.
Dang.
I feel like that's something you could definitely get down on, Eric. Like, you love eating fish, right? You love salmon.
Yeah. The idea of fishing to me is like catch to cook.
Yeah.
So like when we go out with Jay to Florida, I'm like, yes, mahi, like, yes, snapper, because I want to eat them. And salmon is like the one and only thing I'm missing in my freezer, man. If I could get some salmon and maybe trade for some axis deer, I'm down.
There you go.
Dude, yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah,
we got to get that
another
figured out.
opportunity is how do we go do an axis deer hunt. I might get the chance to do it in Hawaii, but I want to do it in Texas if we can.
Yeah. I got a couple calls already out for some Texas stuff. We just got to sort out some details. We'll talk about that later. But anyways, it's going to be a fun spring coming up. And then before you know it, man, it's going to be summertime. We're patiently waiting to figure out what tags, if any, we're going to draw this year. And that'll help us finalize our fall plans. I think we got some cool ideas for some fall projects. We just got to huddle up as a team and kind of figure out how that's going to work, what the logistics are going to look like. But certainly going to be a fun year. I don't have anything much more other than make sure you guys tune in on the 19th. Monday the 19th, big giant announcement. We're very excited to share it with all of you. Gentlemen, closing thoughts?
Yeah, I've said it before, but because of all the support that we get from you guys, we have this platform and the ability to give back. So on the 19th, this is for you guys. We put it together. Like we said, we've thought about it. People have asked us about something like this in the past, and we put it together for you guys to say thanks. And we just want to share the love. And again, thanks for all the support on the podcast, the platform, social media, etc. Appreciate it.
I agree. I think from what I've read, a majority of you guys listen to these podcasts. You enjoy them. Something I would recommend. If there's anything you guys want us to talk about, any special guests that you guys want to see on here, let us know. We're going to try to keep this as consistent as possible, especially right now when we don't have a ton of stuff going on, but we're trying to upload at least one of these every week. So if there's something you guys want to hear about, somebody you want on, like, let us know and we'll try to make it happen.
I know Logie Bear's got some shopping cart items currently purchased where we're going to try to double down on quality. And I know some of the audio is never the greatest. These Zoom calls aren't the greatest, although they are cool to be able to upload onto our YouTube platform. So we're working through those details, but I think we're all in on continuing these conversations and open to any and all ideas.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. Until next time on the Hushlife podcast, we'll catch you on the next one.
See you guys.
Laters.
See ya.